Good afternoon, and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at pitching for today, the 4th of September. It is Thursday. We do only have a 5-game slate. I think there's just 6 games going today. 5 games on the slate for us to take a look at. There is some weather issues to be a little worried about. Pitt in LA, the big matchup between Snell and Skeens. Rain in Tampa, and then potential rain in Minnesota as well. It sounds like all 3 games should be fine. Could be some delay, pregame delay in Minnesota and in Pittsburgh. Tampa Bay, we just have to watch up for that pop-up, in-game scenario. But for the most part, we should be good to go. Reminder, this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you play on FanDuel, I would cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. But on a smaller slate, more pitchers become viable because we just don't need as much of a ceiling from our pitchers. So maybe your FanDuel pitcher pool is, 2/3 of what my DK one would be, somewhere in there. But we're still looking for ceiling. We're still looking for that upside. And we do have some guys that can provide pretty strong ceilings when things come together. Taking a look at the first game, we get Skeens versus Snell. I have our DS up that has our ownership projections. I'm going to refresh to see if anything is updated since I opened it this morning. Skeens and Blake Snell combining for nearly 91%. Small difference between the two, but I am a little shocked that Snell is not the higher owned of the two. He's more volatile than Skeens, but far easier matchup. And probably the guy that I would trust, well, I shouldn't use the word trust, that I will use more than Skeens. I might even use somebody like Noah Cameron just as much as I use Paul Skeens to give you an idea of where I'm looking at on the slate. But, Skeens, we know, how great of a pitcher he is. It's really wild that he has just one double-digit strikeout game on the season. I don't know how many he finished with last year. It's something I probably should have looked at. If this wasn't a first look video, I'd be digging in. But at home, his numbers are phenomenal, obviously. A 1.65 ERA, 0.84 whip, average against a 1.88. Just over a strikeout per inning, though. Which is very interesting. There's a lot of, you have a lot of thoughts about that and try to figure out why that's happening. It seemingly could be, as simple as this ballpark is made for pitching, and maybe he's pitching a little bit more towards contact. You see that his walk number is a lot lower as well, so that would kind of play into that scenario. Going back to the strikeout thing, he had 2 double-digit strikeout games last year, over 4 months, so that seems kind of low for a guy like Skeens, but maybe that's just the kind of guy he is. Plus, obviously, cutting back on pitch count, innings, as they down the stretch to save on him for, for future seasons. Tough matchup with the Dodgers, obviously, but there are strikeouts in the Dodgers lineup. Blake Snell has been mediocre over the last 3 starts. Walks are the big issue. 8+ strikeouts in 3 of his last 5 starts. Multiple walks in 4 of his last 5, or 4 straight starts to be exact. But we do know when things come together for him, he is big time upside. If he walks just 1 in this game, all of a sudden he's over 33 fantasy points. He walks just 1, he might get another inning. That raises it up maybe 35, 36 fantasy points. So, he's super close to just having big time games if he can eliminate those things. So, I love the chance of him hitting a ceiling type game slightly more than I like Skeens getting there in this particular spot. Cleveland, Tampa Bay, I think both pitchers are in play. Now, why am I playing Logan Allen when I haven't really been playing him recently? It's quite simply just because Tampa Bay can struggle against left-handed pitchers. I don't want to be too heavy on him because I just don't think he's that solid of a pitcher. He's been much weaker on the road, which is where he's at here. Plus, this ballpark, obviously, home runs happen quite a bit here. Nice thing is he's been at over 100 pitches 2 out of his last 3 starts and 3 out of his last 6. So he's allowed to actually pitch, and good things can happen when you're allowed to actually pitch. Ceiling's not very strong, but given it's a 5-gamer, we might get away with getting 22 fantasy points out of him and being a viable SP2. The other side, Pepio, 3 starts of 20-plus fantasy points in his last 5. He has been at his best when at home, which is weird, considering he's given up a ton of home runs. 1 every less than 5 innings, so that's a pretty large home run rate. But his K numbers are stronger at home. His WHIP, average against, ERA, all those numbers are better when at home. Walk rate plummets. So just overall, he has more upside at home, which is where he's at today, obviously. Has not faced Cleveland yet, but the overall Cleveland lineup doesn't scare me all that much. Obviously, that ballpark, like I mentioned, shorter. It's a minor league ballpark, so offense can happen a bit more, but still. Pepio, definitely somebody I'm going to be on. Next game, Houston and the Yankees. Carlos Rodon. Strikeouts haven't been there the last 5 starts. A high of 5. Walks have been there with 15 of them over the last 5 starts as well. It's tough to trust him. But, man, in 2 of those 5 starts, he's given up just 1 hit. If he can find a way to cut down the walks, get back to the 1 or 2 walks, he's got plenty of upside. Houston is a dangerous spot for him because they're going to be very right-hand heavy. He hasn't been as strong on the road this season. His K rate is much stronger. Home runs allowed go down, which is nice to see. But his other fantasy numbers take a hit. I'm going to utilize him just because he's one of those guys that has that upside. But I don't necessarily want to get overexposed to him. Right now we project him at under 15%. So I can play him at 20% and feel somewhat okay about it. I might even be willing to get up to 25% Rodon on this particular slate just because he has a ceiling that has the ability to rival, Snell and Skeens. I think he's just below them in terms of ceiling, but I think he fits on this slate. Christian Javier, coming off of his best start, coming out after not allowing a hit through 6 innings. 85 pitches was a 20-pitch increase over his previous start. I would guess that we probably can see an increase into the 90s from a pitch count standpoint here. It is a dangerous matchup, but we do know that A, he's been really good at home in his 3 starts there, and B, he does have a no-hitter in his career. I believe it was against the Yankees, as I mentioned it. But he has the ability. The Yankees can strike out. My worry is the walk number. 7 walks over his last 8 innings. It's not ideal, considering he only has 9 strikeouts, but still, he is more of a fly ball pitcher, traditionally. That's dangerous against the Yankee squad. So there's a lot of volatility to him, but there is upside. So, sub 10% projected ownership. We play him at 15%, get overweight, but not be super heavily exposed like we plan on being with Skeens, Snell, Cameron, and maybe even Pepio. Because if we're going to get overweight on Pepio, we have to get to 30-35%, and now we're starting to stick our neck out a little bit, especially in that ballpark. White Sox Twins, I'm just not using Taj Bradley. He actually was decent against San Diego last time out. Maybe I need to reconsider my thought, but initially I'm just not super excited. He's made 2 starts against the White Sox so far. They were back-to-back with the Twins. He combined for negative 15.2 fantasy points. It's not good. Like, these numbers just are not good. 1 strikeout in those 6 2/3 innings. I'm willing to just pass on him. I don't want to be sold on this start against San Diego, where he actually looks solid. But I just can't do it. I'm sorry. The biggest thing in those 2 starts against the White Sox, 1 came with Tampa Bay, 1 with Minnesota. So 2 separate organizations, and he just got lit up in both of them. I don't feel great about it, so I'm just not going there. Jonathan Cannon on the other side, I'm a little intrigued about, but he was rough the last time he was at the major league level. He's going to be following an opener. Hasn't been overly strong this season. His road numbers are pretty bad. He definitely pitched better last season, so that's kind of why I'm considering him. But most likely I'm just going to pass on Jonathan Cannon as well. Getting to the last game, Kansas City, LA. We get Kyle Hendricks against a team that doesn't strike anybody out, or strike out, well, he doesn't strike anybody out. He did strike out 9 once this season, but aside from that, his high was 6. Just not a spot we want to rely on Kyle Hendricks. On the other side, Noah Cameron, that is somebody I'm going to utilize. Coming off of a very rough start. Has not had his strong starts with Kansas City in, a month and a half or so. Was a guy that we used a bunch earlier on. I'm going to use him just because his numbers at home are stronger from a fantasy point perspective. His Ks are much stronger. And he's taking on a team that strikes out a lot. Now, it is a team that does have plenty of right-hand power. So maybe there's a little worry there. But the upside for Noah Cameron is strong enough to be the SB2 on the slate. To me, he's a much better play than Logan Allen is, even though Tampa Bay struggles against left-handed pitching. I would much rather go heavier on Noah Cameron than somebody like Logan Allen on this slate. So there we have it. There's our first look at the pitching options. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will drop a link in the description below. You can use promo code KICKOFF2025. Will get you 20% off any VIP membership for life. That is by far the best code we've offered, and it is here just for a short time. Not sure if it ends tonight or on Sunday. I'm still waiting to hear the official cutoff time, but I would assume it's not going to last much longer than week 1 of the NFL season. So check out that link. Any VIP membership, 20% off. Huge number to take off your membership. And as always, I will drop a link to our merch store. You can check out some of the offerings, check out my hoodie, etc. Let me know what you think of the apparel. Let me know what you think of the pitching options on tonight's slate. And as always, best of luck, everybody.